for X amount of time.
I don't find the gym or like that sort of like workout particularly enjoyable. If I'm honest, it's a chore. I don't even do it, so to
Yeah,
me it's
what I
actually
need to
nothing.
do
But
is, and I might do this like a little bit later, really need to start like another team sport again, like just whatever, like it doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it's something that's physically active. The game's up, by the way.
oh, nice. Where you want to get back
Yeah,
into like a
just
team
because
sport?
it's a way for me to get exercise in a way that I actually enjoy.
It says connection refused,
Oh,
server
what?
is private.
That is something. Hold on, let me just main menu it. Multiplayer.
Might be my end. I just rebooted. I never join games like without the game being like booted. I find that's a bit janky. Trying to join it and then relying on that to open the game and then put you through. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Alright, well, I've reloaded it, and hopefully I've reloaded it with like the right settings, so it should be able to connect.
Nick.
But yeah,
Load in. I assume it's. I guess load in is.
no, that sounds promising.
Yeah, it should be right. What like options do you have? Like, do you know guys or girls that are already in a team in a
Not
sport that
really,
you want to
no.
get into, or are you just
I'm
thinking about
thinking of just signing up to like
sign up?
a fucking random sport, and just doing that because
Okay.
I played lots of sports in the past, but I don't really like. Water polo is too much of a pain in the ass to do. It's way too much hassle, and like I was never really fantastically good at any other sport, but I definitely enjoyed other sports though. So I enjoyed both soccer, but I
Right.
don't think like, oh fuck, I am so trash at soccer. Like, so it isn't. I don't think that would be pretty good.
You're quite an odd size for a footballer, though, aren't
Yeah,
you?
I think so. Like, I'm like 6'2", which was not a problem if I'm like a goalkeeper, but that's literally the fucking. Let's like
It's
fucking
ideal.
get ball shot in your face. That's like not exactly.
Yeah,
Just like sitting. You're like, if your team's good, you don't fucking have to do anything, and if your team's bad, you just get your ass kicked because people keep kicking balls at you. So that's not ideal.
becomes half much a game of like
Yeah.
protect your face and nuts.
I don't know, maybe something like basketball.
Football's
I'm not
right.
sure.
I am trash at
so am
basketball.
I, but I think the idea is that you get better over time.
Yeah, of course. But you want to do like a casual, the football. Well, you call
Yeah.
it soccer, obviously. We call it football.
Well, we call it football. I call
like
it
Sunday
soccer to make it
football
distinct
leagues.
from American football. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's the hard thing with talking to Yanks. We say football, and they're like,
Yeah.
"You mean soccer?" And it's like, "Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I mean."
Football is literally
No, you're not
football
Yank, but
in Dutch, so I mean, it's not really gonna.
yeah, I'd imagine there would be much difference in any like European countries because obviously you got the Euro leagues, haven't you? So everyone is a pretty standardised thing throughout Europe.
Yeah, there's
football.
not like a country that plays with like a multi-ball rule or anything. If that was your head. It's like,
Probably be slightly more interesting
in
to
Dutch
watch.
football, everybody's the goalie. Like, fucking-
Yeah.
yeah.
You can only run backwards.
If you kick the ball with your left leg,
Yeah, football's
everybody
fun,
has to
man.
beat you up. Yeah.
Played football when I was younger. My dad really wanted me to play it. I didn't really care about that sort of stuff. I like computer games, but yeah, a lot of people play Sunday League, which is like pretty casual, but some people get really super serious about it. Like,
Yeah. I'm the kind of guy, I'll get serious about like my own performance, but I couldn't give a shit if my team lives or dies. Like,
yeah,
Like I'm mainly doing it for like the exercise and for having something to do. That's more physical because it's just very good to do cardio intensive exercise, and just jogging is so boring. Like fuck me. That's like the main thing that I dislike about jogging. And if I'm on like a football pitch, I will just continuously run. Like people are like, oh, you gotta conserve your energy. I'm like, what fucking kind of pussy are you? You know, like I'll just run towards everybody. Because the thing is, if you just like charge a guy, like it doesn't matter how shit you are at football. Because I would always play defense because I was dog shit, but I like being defense. Because it doesn't matter how shit you are. If you just charge at somebody and like fucking try and impede them, eventually they'll fuck up after a while, because they're all trying to do like that fancy like, oh, I'm gonna make it so you can't touch the ball, and I'm just like, if I just charge at them hard enough and kick at them hard enough, eventually I'll win. But
Pretty much.
yeah, no, I don't think it'll be soccer, because I think for like, I'm just too shit at it, because it's like it's something that's, I guess, too serious.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, you want something you're gonna enjoy, and a lot, like, I don't know, when you play at that sort of level, like they take it seriously because it like means a lot to them, and it's like their thing. If you look at something, I get that with airsoft a lot, where it's like I'm just going there to get a bit of exercise, just let off a bit of steam, have fun with it, because it is quite fun. Or at least I find it very fun. I know a lot of people do. But then you get some people who it's like their life, like they're not fun about it, like they're not chill about it, like, and it's a bit sad, really. But yeah, water polo, that's an interesting one.
It gets you in incredibly good shape.
Yeah, I can imagine. The swimming's really good exercise, like cardio and muscular as well, because like
exactly
it works out everything, does everything.
Yep.
You're using every muscle in your body. It's quite good. But then again, I enjoy swimming, but it does get quite boring if you're like going and doing it on your own.
I can't even do the warm up anymore that we used to do for water polo, because before we started water polo training, I think it's like a competition swimming pool that we used to have. And we'd go in like the shorter direction of the competition swimming pool, because it's very long. Well, we do like swimming quote unquote lanes or whatever the hell, continuously for like, I think it's like the first 10 to 20 minutes of the lesson were just that. So it's just literally the first part of every lesson is just endurance training. And that used to be like fucking easy as shit to do like every time, but now it's kind of like harder because, you know, I haven't done it in a long time. Now I'm like, you know, if I'm doing like a couple of really long lanes, like after like 5 or 6, I'm just like, oh fuck, I actually noticed this is
What's a competition pool length? It's like 100. Is it 100 meters?
I'm not actually sure. That's actually saying.
Oh, 50. Nah, it's not 100 actually. 100 is far too much. As a standard, well, like let's say like a leisure centre or a health centre, like 50.
Yes.
50's competition, is it? Fuck, that's a long way.
No.
Like to basically crawl through water.
If you're good at swimming, you swim really fast. Like you swim faster than you walk or like jog. Like you go really fast.
So the idea that someone could swim faster than I can run is quite funny.
I don't know if how it depends on how fast you run, because I think it can kind of match it, but obviously if you're doing like a real solid sprint, like can't keep up with that. But if you're like just jogging, absolutely. I'd have to actually measure it how fast I can go and see, because it definitely is quite fast. The main annoying thing is because I used to do like I used to swim like a competition pool, and then you'd have to like, there's no like fucking kids or anything else in that pool, because
Oh,
it's
the
literally
annoying
just the
shit,
whole
like, old
pool is
people in the
reserved
way.
for training, um,
Yeah.
which is very nice. But right, I you obviously can't do it in like a public swimming pool, because even if they have like a swimming pool that allows you to swim backwards and forwards, you have to constantly be alert that you're not just like fucking murdering a child as you like swim like through the thing. So it's kind of like, yeah.
Takes me back to like all the videos you see of like people trying to do cool tricks in skate parks and just plowing into
Yeah.
little kids that are just oblivious. Annoying. Yeah, you don't need that when you're trying
No.
to train, though. Fuck.
Really puts you on edge. What?
How long? How long did you play
Fuck.
polo
I
for?
think
Polo
I
for,
think like
because
I
I
played
imagine you played it like
competitively for a couple of years. I think like, or at least obviously it's not real competitive because I was too young for that. But it's like the league before competitive. So pretty much people that are good, people that do good
right.
in the team that I was in get selected for national competitions.
Oh right.
I think I did it for like a long ass fucking time. I don't know, maybe like 4 years or something. Not sure. 4 or 5 years. Because I like, it kind of blurs together because I also did lifeguard training, and so I'd have like lifeguard training and water polo throughout the week, and because effectively my swimming lessons transferred into lifeguard training and water polo, if you know what I mean. So it all kind of like connects as like a blur. So I'd have to like ask.
Okay.
I think my mom or something. Maybe she knows, but I'm not even sure if she does.
Mums always know those little things. Do you live far from your parents nowadays?
It's very hard to live far from somebody
You're not the same.
in the Netherlands. It's a small country.
How so? Oh.
It'd be like, you know, if the Netherlands is effectively like if you take like just the south of England and that's just it. Like, you know what I mean? Type of size. Yeah.
Very small. Fuck. I didn't appreciate that when I visited it. Oh, fuck me, I suppose, yeah. Like, you could fit the Netherlands, like, on a Google map, you could fit the Netherlands straight over the England's, like, label. Slap it straight over and it probably wouldn't penetrate out of the, like, edge line of the United Kingdom. Fucking hell.
No,
I always thought it was bigger than that.
It's a small country in Europe.
Same as Belgium,
Small
really,
but
actually,
powerful.
looking at it.
Or well, used to be powerful.
Luxembourg.
Yep.
That's fun.
Used to all be one country as well. Well,
What,
Belgium,
Luxembourg and Belgium?
Netherlands. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Netherlands.
What country was it called?
Yeah.
Oh, that was all the Netherlands.
It was after the, pretty much after
Why?
the Napoleonic Wars, right? Because France occupied Belgium, right? Or that region at least. But the people in there were like, they're like French, Flemish or whatever the hell. They're not like traditional French, shall we say. And after the Napoleonic War, because it was a very prosperous region, because it's one of the first regions in Europe to industrialize Belgium. The coalition, aka UK, Prussia, Russia, Austria, well, I guess Austria. Yeah, it's just Austria, not Austria-Hungary. Austria, and I don't think Spain was part of it. But anyway, the coalition was like, we can't give this to either Prussia or France because it would make either of them too strong, if you know what I mean. So they were like, we'll give it to the Netherlands, with the idea being that that would make the Netherlands powerful enough to resist invasion from either France or Germany.
It was kind of like entrusted.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, unfortunately, my history is just not that sharp, mate.
Yep.
These things are interesting, right? But remembering them is like not like a massive.
But obviously, the more
priority.
history you know, the more you can, the easier it is to learn, because the more it starts to form a bigger picture, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because I find like a lot of history is just like the way it's like retold is just very isolated, so you don't get like a true appreciation of like history as like a whole, because you're only taught like very small and specific like parts of each, say, like period, like, you know, like Tudors. You only like at the school I attend, my secondary school I went to, like the only real bit they bothered with about the Tudors was like kind of more the cultural, like general cultural things, like how they dress, like how they cooked things, like uh, only really Henry VIII. Because was it only really Henry VIII that was the king during like the Tudor period?
Um,
Like, I don't know.
I
Was
don't
there anyone else on
actually
the throne at that time, or
know.
was he kind of just like
Well,
the
the thing is, the
celebrity figure of
Tudors.
the
I
Tudor
think the
period?
Tudors came about after the War of the Roses, which is like the civil
Right.
war between, like, I think the House of York and the House of Lancaster. Pretty sure it's between those two. I'd have to actually look that up because I don't know. Like, British history is not my expertise.
Yeah, same here. I live here. Just know it's very bloody.
Well, all history is bloody, I'm pretty sure. There's no country that's peaceful.
But yeah. Well, nah. I think humans, by nature, are very peaceful.
Oh, we're pretty
to be honest with you,
peaceful. It's just, we also make war as well. We can't protect, but we can also attack, It's,
Yeah. But yeah, it's hard to get a grasp on history as like a proper timeline.
Well,
Unless
you
you've
can,
studied it like in
there's
depth,
chronological history of individual countries. Like, there's this guy, I think he's called History Matters, who does effectively all of British history in like little 10-minute videos. Obviously
okay.
not all of
But
British
they're all
history
in
in 10 minutes, but he does like 10-minute video on like effectively really early British history, aka before they got occupied by the Romans and made it into a Roman province, because you have to understand that the Romans kept hold of Britain for like 400 years, so they were a proper Roman province, and then it goes from there, because obviously that's really when you could have like the most historical records, because unfortunately barbarians didn't really keep many records.
Oh, I wouldn't have imagined. What's your favourite piece of history?
I think Roman
Like
history,
part.
because it fucking spans for like nearly 2,000 years.
Mm. Yeah, I always remember it being like one of the bigger subjects of history. Like it was saved for like the later years of secondary education. So when you're about sort of
14, 15, yeah.
14, 15, yeah, about that.
Yeah, because pretty much what defines Europe right now is entirely because of the Romans, if you know what I mean. The borders of Europe, because Europe was an irrelevant concept during the Roman time, if you know what I mean, because they just occupied all of the civilized parts of it and all of like North Africa and like large parts of the Middle East, if you know what I mean. So the concept of Europe, there's just the Roman Empire, if you know what I mean. Like, they don't really distinct between Europe and not Europe. There's no distinction between Europe and not Europe, if you know what I mean. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, because like, was it not that like clearly like segmented off like it is nowadays?
Well, yeah, because
the
thing is, like, the Romans during the time of the Republic and also before they became Christian or Catholic, I should say, they just kind of like occupied, or they just invaded countries, right? And like the Greeks, they had before Roman expansion, they had invaded all of Persia, and pretty much the Greeks controlled from Greece to India, if you know what I mean. To like they controlled all of Persia, and also Egypt, and also Arabia, I guess. But like you can't not really the outside of it, but the what's called like the I guess it's like Syria and Palestine. So effectively all that area, like pretty much all of what we consider the Middle East, was occupied by Greek people because of Alexander's campaigns, if you know what I mean. Like Alexander the Great, he conquered pretty much fucking all of the civilized world at the time, except for India, because he just stopped there, and then he unfortunately died at the age of 36 or something. And the Romans, they first fought there, like, actually no, they first, I think I'm pretty sure they first occupied Greece. But anyway, they rose to power by attacking their neighboring tribes who were much less, I guess, militarily advanced than they were, and they united their peninsula, and then they attacked, or well, they had like this rivalry with the Carthaginians, who were a African people, and North Africa is like different culture than like what you might consider the rest of Africa, if you know what I mean. Like they were all very similar to Europeans, if you know what I mean. And they weren't tribal at all, is the thing. Like North Africa, well, not necessarily not tribal at all, but they were about as advanced as Europe was, if you know what I mean. Well, they still are, because there's a massive distinction between North.
What with like their? What do you mean, like with like, say like compare like Egypt to like, I don't know, fucking like modern day?
Yeah, because you obviously
Somalia.
Understand that there's a huge difference between North Africa and the rest of Africa, if you know what I mean. I'd hope you do, at least.
Yeah,
they are a different people.
Like
they are like a different group of people.
Yeah. When I think like Central and Southern Africa and West as well, it's more like proper little Africans. But the more north you go, the more sort of like Middle Eastern they start to become. Like Morocco is very different to where's that place I visited? Lesotho. Have you ever heard of Lesotho?
You have to tell me what country it's in.
Like technically it's a part of South Africa, but they've been like allowed to like, they're like, it's like an independent kingdom within South Africa. Like they have like their own kind of, they have their own money, believe it or not. They actually have their own currency. They've been allowed to like keep it, but they just live like kind of really still like rurally, like very tribal, very rural. Like it's quite interesting. It's like going back in time when you visit there, because South Africa's quite modern, right? Wow. As far as Africa goes, it's fairly westernized, right?
Because the thing is, like, it's because it's not in general, like, because the thing is, all these African countries, they have large metropolitan cities, right? But they also have like just people that live in the jungle that effectively live like they do thousands of years ago. But in the same country, they also have their capital cities, which are modern cities, if you know what I mean. It's much like how fucking all the little British islands. Like, granted, they probably have TV and stuff, but Like in like the 1900s,
Oh, fuck me,
they
yeah,
still
like-
lived like they were in fucking 100 BC.
Yeah. Like the Isle of
So-
Wight.
So yeah, because it's not like there's no such thing as like, well, in like the Netherlands there's technical uniformity because it's a very small and it's a small country that has like very high infrastructure. But in other countries, especially larger countries, there's people that live modern, like in a modern way, and people that live in a very rural, very primitive way. But anyway, yeah. So pretty much, like I don't know what we were talking. We were talking about like the Roman Empire or something.
Yeah, about how North
Yeah,
Africa
they were
is-
like they weren't because right now they're like Arabians, if you know what I mean, or at least they're Arabian culture. Whereas previously they had like their own culture. Effectively, they were more. I guess they were more inline. They were more. You think of them as like Mediterraneans rather than of like North Africans and Europeans, if you know what I mean. I guess thinking of them as Mediterraneans makes it simpler. And yeah, there's no like there's a huge technological disparity, but like in the Mediterranean, because the Mediterranean's always been very advanced in terms of technology compared to the rest of Europe, because it's where like the effectively human civilization is said to have begun in Mesopotamia, which is in Persia, and then it kind of spread to the Mediterranean. And you have like Egypt, which is one of the oldest civilizations around, pretty much. That was obviously a Mediterranean power, and they all traded with each other and all that sort of shit. But yeah, anyway, I don't know exactly what the question was about the thing, so I have no idea. I don't know.
No, I can't remember. I think it was like more of just a conversation, just
Yeah.
super tangent. Like,
But well,
That's
there's
cool,
like
I like that
pretty
conversations
much
like
the way Europe is now. We were talking about how that affects the way Europe is. Well, pretty much, so Rome became Christian, or at least its official religion became like Christianity or Catholicism or whatever the hell. And like a couple hundred years after, I think it's the year 700 or 600, effectively the 7th century, 600 something. You have what's called the Arab Revolt. So imagine it like this: you have like the Persian Empire to the east of Rome, and then you have Rome itself. And at this point, Rome is divided into two empires because they at some point they decided to split the east and the western parts of Rome, which was a terrible decision. Didn't turn out very well for the Western Roman Empire. They pretty much got fucking annihilated not very long after that. But the East, it wasn't a civil war. It was just they officially divided the two empires because they had administratively they had divided the empire into parts for like a long period of time, but they had like always the same like external diplomacy, if you know what I mean. So they were always like one side goes to war, the other side also goes to war. They're kind of all the same empire, but they kind of made that distinction more severe because I think it was it was like Augustus or fucking Julian or whatever the fuck who decided to officially split the empire into two, which was not a fantastic idea because the West pretty shortly collapsed after that. But anyway, so the Eastern Roman Empire was dealing with because they occupied effectively all of Egypt, Anatolia, and Greece, and obviously Syria, and Syria and Palestine and all that sort of shit in between. And they had to deal with what's called like the Arab Revolt, which is because like effectively not the Arab Revolt, sorry, like effectively the Islamic revolts, because you have like the Muslims based their religion off of Catholicism, or well, to more accurately say, Catholicism is based off of Judaism, and the Muslims base their religion sort of off of Catholicism and Judaism. So it's like a different branch of like the same religion. And And they had a
sort
very
of same
successful military campaign against both the, like, I think it was the Greek Persians and the Eastern Roman Empire, and they pretty much, long story short, is they divided the religious borders to what they are now, sort of. It took a while because for a long time Anatolia, which is effectively Turkey, was still part of the Eastern Roman Empire and still Orthodox Catholic, but pretty much that's where the divide began. That's why Persia, Arabia, and Egypt are Muslim, and also North Africa as well. Well, also North Africa. That's why those are Muslim and not Christian, because they used to all be, officially at least, they used to all be Christian or Catholic, but obviously there's no real census or anything back from that time, so you don't really know. But the Roman Empire that controlled them was that religion, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and still fighting over it today. Anyways.
Oh, for a very long time. It was a constant, incredibly successful, fucking religious wars that didn't really accomplish too much in the grand scheme of things.
No, wasn't it like the 100-year Holy War, like the Great Crusades?
Well, I don't think
and
it was
stuff?
for 100 years. But there were several periods where they had crusades, and I think the Fourth Crusade is the most infamous one, because it's the one where they fucking killed the Roman Empire in that crusade. So it was Catholics killing Catholics, or Christians killing Christians, to be more specific. And I don't think they fought a single Muslim guy in that crusade, so it was a fucking terrible crusade.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's hard to sum up all of history very briefly, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no. No, it's no small task.
But the nice thing is I have like a fairly good enough grasp from like the dawn of history to modern day, like all of the set pieces, like I have at least some limited knowledge of. Major turning points in history and such and such and such.
So how the bits that make it all bind together.
For the European side.
Because that's where I get confused with it.
Oh well, because
yeah,
I don't really know too much. Like I probably know more about China than like your average person does, Chinese history. But as far as history goes, it's definitely not my strongest area.
Yeah, that's where it falls flat for me. Really, it's like understanding the events that stitch all of the periods together. It's like for me, it's like one minute it was like Egyptians, and then the next minute it's like Tudors, and the next minute it's like this, that, and the other sort of thing. And I'm like, well, how did it get there?
Then
you need, I don't have that understanding of the.
Henry VIII,
yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, because it's the way they teach history. It's kind of like stupid because they teach it like assuming you already understand. Like they assume that you have like a very great knowledge of global history when they teach you history, because then it becomes useful, right? Because let's say if I didn't have much knowledge specifically of the UK, then it would make sense to just teach me about certain periods in the UK that were interesting, right? Because then I can just place everything.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody says, oh, this happened in 14 something, I can be like, oh, this was during this period of time, rather than being like fucking just question marks all around.
Yeah, like when did this happen?
But history's fucking important, because if you don't learn about history, then you fucking don't know anything, pretty much. Because the nice thing about history is that it's already happened, so it's pretty set in stone. Obviously, the minor details might be open to interpretation, but
Yeah, it's more than...
yeah, but
There's a
everything
lot of
else,
facts,
like, because,
though.
you know, fucking, there's no debate on whether the Roman Empire existed. You know, there's no fucking debate on whether, you know,
Nah.
like, Arabia existed or whatever the fuck. Like, there's no, there's no debate on whether all these
Jesus.
big events in history happened. And then at that point, the nuances don't really matter too much.
Well, no.
But we have a huge amount of information on the Roman Empire because they were literate and they produced a lot of works of writing. And so did the Greeks.
Yeah, they still find it. They still dig it up in this country.
Well, no,
Or
the
do the Greeks hide everything? Hide a lot of information.
were like the earliest historians, at least in Europe. The only reason we know about like the Spartans is because of this Greek called Xenophon, who is a historian.
Oh, what? So what is it?
We would
And
have
if
no
you did
idea
document it,
about
it
the
would have gone-
Spartans.
well,
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
What?
Well, because
they
the Spartans
wanted it
didn't
like
keep
that,
their
or
own. Like the
because-
Spartans didn't give a shit about books.
No, they're just a predominantly
Yeah.
like a nation of war, right?
But Xenophon was from
Warrior
Athens,
nation.
which was all about learning and commerce and all that sort of good shit.
I always imagine Athens back in those days like an
Well,
intellectual hub.
it was to a degree, 'cause it was very
Very
advanced. 'Cause
advanced.
it was like one of the earliest democracies, and it had, you know, like the merchant class were strongly represented, and like a strong merchant class makes a very powerful economy.
Yeah.
And they also cared about actual history and stuff. So
Yeah.
well, I mean, I'm sure the Athenians still care about it, but they're all fucking dead. So I mean, yeah, the Ottomans like left Greece mostly intact in terms of like they didn't do like mass cultural cleansing or anything, because they could have, because they had like you have to understand that the Ottomans were in control of Greece for like 500 years plus.
The Ottomans, they're
Well,
they're
they're-
Turkish
no, like
descent, right?
the Turks come from the Ottomans is the best way to put it. Like the
Oh, okay.
Ottomans, they are like they're, I guess the best way to put it is they're like like their origin is like steppe nomads that settled into Anatolia, and that's where their identity kind of changed, because obviously once you settle, you're no longer a nomad. So the Ottomans were the Ottomans,
Yeah.
but
So there was no one occupying that part
what?
of the world.
No, of
before
course.
they
What the fuck?
did that.
Yes, of course. There was people occupying Anatolia, like effectively Turkey. Yeah, like they came in. Like you have to understand that Anatolia, aka Turkey and Greece, were all part of Greece, if you know what I mean. Or well, Greece, the Roman Empire, which was Greco-Roman. Effectively, it had large elements of Greek culture in it. And the like, cause yeah, like, do you know about Genghis Khan, right? Well, there's no
Bits and
exaggeration that
pieces.
he had the largest empire the world ever seen, and he literally, like, at least his, like, because his children kind of like continued that legacy, so it's not fair to say it's all Genghis Khan, but his empire fucking spanned all the way from like pretty much Anatolia to China. So he had conquered all of China, all of like the steppe, effectively, so Russia pretty much. Had conquered all of the Middle East. Well, not all of the Middle East, like Persia, and kind of parts in between. He didn't really go into India, but he definitely went into Europe. Like he went as far as like, I guess Hungary is the best way to put it. Like that's where he kind of ended. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That's a long,
Yeah.
that's a
And
big ass way.
effectively the steppes were always occupied by, or at least as far as history can tell, they were always occupied by a nomadic people, or at least, you know, they're either Asian nomads or something else, because it's believed that even the Greeks, like in ancient Greece, were aware of their existence to a certain degree, of like people living up in like uncharted territory in the north, riding horses.
So it was a bit of a no
Yeah.
man's land. It is cool. I find it very
Yeah,
fascinating.
the Ottomans they settled into Anatolia, which what that means is that they pretty much just militarily occupied it, and then obviously they settled in the sense that they just started living there as well. And like every large empire, the Ottomans were forward thinking until they weren't, if you know what I mean.
But they got bit.
No, they
confident.
fell behind in the Industrial Revolution. That's the real major thing.
Oh. How
Well,
so
in the
what
sense
do you
that
mean
they
by
didn't
that?
really have as strong of a, I guess they didn't have like a strong aristocracy in the sense that they didn't have like people to occupy factories and all that sort of stuff, or build factories. It wasn't as important, so they were kind of slow in doing that. And they'd also lost several wars in the in like the 18th century, well actually 19th century. I might actually get fucking killed by these guys. To fucking don't jump into. Like, I jumped into like an unknown system and it's just filled with pirate assholes.
They're fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun though. Yeah, this game's actually quite good. I like this. It's yeah. The fuck is that line there? Is that there's a big long giant line? Is that from yesterday where you said you could just jump through like was it a wormhole? Like to the almost the other side of the galaxy. Well, it is actually the other side of the galaxy.
Here's hoping that I can actually repair my ship. Fuck me. Like what?
Am I right?
Yeah.
No, go on. I was gonna say, is it true the more north I go, the more like the finer resources I'll find? Like the more high tech ones.
No.
Or are they just randomly?
No, it's the closer to the center you get. Yes.
The better it gets. But the harder it gets also. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
chill
I got
down here for a
fucking
bit.
killed because I had the audacity to move into like a pirate system, because you can't really tell ahead of time unless you use the gateways, which I didn't. I just like kind of like jumped, which I guess is my fault. But
what pirate factions are up
if
there?
you zoom out, right, like factions are kind of colored by how much they fucking dislike you. So hold on, let's actually look at like the faction thing.
Yeah, like the part of the map that I'm on at the moment is like kind of got like green where like the fog has been taken away. Then there's like a kind of like just sort of like grey colour one, which I think
there's
is neutral.
loads of pirate factions actually. Like there's loads of different ones. If you go to like player and then go into diplomacy, you can see like all these factions that we're like non-friendly to.
Yeah, you can see it from the map. I was just wondering if there's the same pirates down here.
No.
Like the whole map, or like
there's different ones.
Yeah, like
there's different pirate factions.
So I've seen two different pirate. I've actually seen two different pirate factions fighting each other in a system I jumped into, which was quite interesting. The pirates will actually fight each other, which is kind of nice to use it to your advantage.
Yes.
Oh, you're
'cause I
actually
die.
right back at the beginning. You made you. Oh, right.
Yes.
Is that your
'cause,
home system
changing
then?
that would be way too expensive for me right now.
Right.
But yeah, with the repair tokens, like
Wow, the
dying
work.
is not as big a deal as it used to be. Because holy shit, it would just be because it's like it used to just be like you get some money back,
They're
and
pretty
it's like
cheap.
oh fuck. But now I need to like buy all the materials and like get all the things.
Yeah. Oh, so it's actually really like
It
dying
used to
is
be
really bad.
really bad. Just make sure you always have a repair token. Otherwise, I assume dying is really bad.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, no, they're actually not that.
Yeah,
Do they
yeah,
scale
of
with
course.
the
Yeah,
like the price of
they're 20% of your
size?
ship cost in your home system and 30% of your ship cost anywhere else. So yes, they scale.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I've tried to like keep everyone's advice and like stay
Yeah.
smallish at the beginning. Well, they do have 20k iron, like
Jeez.
83k money, and
Do you have, do
4.4k
you have, oh,
titanium. So I
do
figure I
you,
can
well,
build
the thing
something
is,
pretty
iron is
good.
like a low tier resource, but it's
Yeah, for at least bopping around. I can be pretty advanced for staying
yeah.
around the south
Though I'd
region.
recommend like running into some more money, because the way you can get like quite a bit of money is if you find like if you fight like some ships, or if you salvage some ships, and fuck, and come on, fuck me here. If you salvage some ships and like pick up modules, like the orange ones sell for huge amounts of money. Like
Oh, I have.
like the things that you
When you
put
say
into your ship.
modules, yeah. I actually have a gold one. It's things like the like the like
Yes.
complement like the turrets and stuff
Yes,
that you
those
put into
sell
the
for a
systems,
lot.
right?
So if
Ah,
it's like one that you think you can miss because they're not super rare, then it's worth it. Because
right.
I think if is it like it's a yellow one that you have, right?
Yeah, I have a exceptional one. I've got a common one for mining and a
Yeah.
uncommon
Here's
or
the thing:
green
if you
one
sell that
for
exceptional
turret
one,
control.
right, it'll probably be like around 500 to 600,000, depending. Yeah, depending on how.
Really?
Depending on what it is.
Yeah, I'd rather sell it because the
Yeah.
energy consumption on it is too much.
It
Like
obviously it
it's good. It
depends on what
allows
it
me to
is.
have
If it's
like
like the turret one,
5
it probably sells for a huge amount. Because there's some that are like
turret control
scanner
system.
systems which aren't as valuable.
Right. Yeah, this one it adds turret slots, permanent installation only, +2. So I don't know what that means. But its energy consumption is quite high. But yeah, I might actually sell that. Where would I
Equipment
sell
dock.
that to then? Like just a equipment dock, right? Ah, they're actually quite few and far between. I haven't seen many of them on my journey. Apart from the home systems, the only one actually I've seen so far. I remember Aiden actually
What?
saying that yesterday as well, didn't he? About then, the equipment stations are quite
Yeah.
far away from each other. Yeah, I'm finding this game like a cool mix between a lot of the other space games that I've got played. Like it's a little bit of Elite, a little bit of Space Engineers, a little bit of
Yeah.
Emporion. It's like
Downside like the downside with Emporion is that
just a
Emporion is like it is like Space Engineers, but like more features. But obviously it's like
yeah,
how should I put it? It's like it's not as it is again one of those like buildy games, you know. This is kind of like there's a lot of those out there. This is kind of unique in that there's not a lot of games that are like you just build your starship, if you know what I mean, or at least less of those types of games than there are of like the survival games that are Minecraft-esque.
yeah. Like yeah, this like the whole point of this is you build your ship, but like you don't have to. It's not like the entire like point of the game. Like it's not the progression of the game.
It is part of the progression, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
In like those other games,
like
it's more. Yeah, I guess how like best way to put it. Like Emporion, for example, because I like Emporion, but it's like it's a much slower paced game, I suppose is the best way I can put it. Because you kind of like you just in that game you mine, you build spaceships, you can build bases and stuff, but it's paced much slower because obviously it's all within one system, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas this is kind of like I like this because this is a sim, like an actual proper simulation.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because you're not like tied back by things like I said yesterday about like resources to run things. It's just like as long as you got enough power, I completely appreciate what you're saying about the power now. Like as long as your power's okay, then everything's all fine and dandy. But yeah, that's one thing that makes it very different. So you just as long as you got the resources, the money back the building of it, and as long as you get your power like levels balanced, that's fine. That's it. Like, but with other games like I don't know, say Space Engineers, like you've always got to be finding fuel to run the fucking things. And
yep. This one, it's you mainly just pay your crew.
Yeah. And making money is fairly.
Yeah, it's not too difficult. Like, but it isn't so easy that it's like meaningless.
Yeah, like just grind it. Like the things on No Man's Sky, like where it's just like kill 10 creatures, like kill some pirates, like it adds you good money and stuff. But eventually, it's just like, why am I doing this? Like,
yeah, No Man's Sky. I still like No Man's Sky because it's exploration. I think it's the best thing about it. But
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Yeah, I really like this game as well. Like, I forgot how much I like it because I was kind of like, because the start is slow in this game, but it's not as bad as it was because like they made it like better by having like the rejigger token and all that sort of stuff. Because holy shit, man! Like back in the day, dying was so bad. Even if you had your ship insured, because all you would do is you'd get like a fucking bucket of cash, and then you'd still have to make sure to provide the resources yourself or go to the systems and buy the resources, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just like insurance, you know? It's like if your car gets crashed, they don't give you your exact same fucking car with all the modifications to it. They just give you a sum of money, you know?
No, I mean they do not give you what you pay for it either.
No, in this game at least they give you like quite a substantial sum. I think they do give you like a proper amount for what the ship that you lost is, but it still doesn't change the fact that you would have to like go through the effort of collecting all the shit to rebuild it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just died.
I've died a couple of times.
Died twice now, yeah. I mean,
yeah, right now, for example, it would cost me fucking like 3,000 or fucking 3,000. Sorry, it would cost me 41,000 every time I die because my ship is just more valuable now. 41,000.
How much? Sorry, 43.
Oh, that's not too bad. So, given the fact that this ship is just more powerful and just bigger.
Oh no, yeah. For probably how far in the galaxy in the game you've got, is you know how how much more better materials you've probably got.
Well, I still just have neonite. Like my ship is it has a neonite shield generator and a neonite hyperdrive thing, but that's about it. It's still predominantly made of titanium.
Oh, okay. Mine's like 1,000 and something.
Yeah,
It's
but that's
like
good
cheap as
because like
chips.
that's what I was doing when I was just exploring, and then that means that when you die, it's not a huge deal.
Nah, yeah. You can press out, find what's about. If you die, it's
Yeah,
like it's
for
little
the
risk
reward
for
of knowledge.
potential good game. Yeah, knowledge, fuel of the mind. Yeah, I'm sort of like stumped at what starship design I want because obviously this is the part of the game that's really
Yeah,
attracted me
though
to
I'd
it.
recommend
Building.
because the building element is super extensive, but I'd recommend like I don't know, like unless you really want to build a new ship, I'd recommend coming into some more money, which would revolve around doing some missions or something, because you don't want to, because you require money to start missions, right? So you don't want to like put all that 80,000 into your ship and then you can't do any missions to make more money, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, just have to like do shitty mine like resources to sell. But I feel that is just such a tragedy. Like if I'm mining resources because I
Yeah,
want to use
exactly.
them, like I don't want to just make. I don't want to make money off of it because I'm probably going
You're,
to need
you're, you're gonna
resources
you're gonna
eventually. I
you're
know
gonna
it's a
like buy
big
the
system
probably
and a big
buy them eventually,
map,
because that's the way I do it is I make money and then I buy the resource. I didn't fucking mine I mined like some of the neonite that I have, but the predominant amount that I have I just bought from like the resource depots, like from the place that
right?
you're selling it to. I buy it from effectively.
There you go. Both ends of the economy.
But yeah, like I don't know, like you could do
Okay.
some, but like you'd have to like check.
But if that's more feasible, or
Oh
like
yeah,
I'll
because
happily
I'd
give it a
recommend
go.
doing some like
Like
deliveries or sorting out some shortages, because that's not combat, so you don't need a powerful ship. You just need like a cargo hold. So you could redesign your ship, but redesign it with like a very express purpose of like being able to haul some cargo, so you can make some cash. Because
yeah, that's why I think I'm struggling a little bit because I don't want to. Like I understand what these types of games like
oh yeah,
jack of all
also
trades don't
if
really
you're gonna
work.
sell resources, just sell them to me rather than selling them to the station. Because
Well, okay, I will do when I
I will
find
pay
better
you
ones.
more
But
money for it, and it's cheaper than me buying the resources. If you know what I mean? Because we don't get taxed on both ends effectively. You know what I mean? Because otherwise the station
right,
takes tax from me and takes tax from you. If you know what I mean? Well, yeah, because
they
they
actually do
don't
that in this
buy
then.
for like the amount that they sell for. If you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So
Oh no, no, yeah. But that'd be
yeah.
that wouldn't make sense anyway. Would it? Just like
Yeah.
we'll buy it
So I don't know. They
for a
might buy
million and
titanium
sell
for
it for one.
$10 a unit or something. I'm not sure, but they will sell it fucking to me for like $19 a unit. You know?
Yeah. They'll buy it from me for like in the kind of where I am at the moment. They'll buy it like
Right.
average is like 4.1 credits
Yeah.
per like I guess one.
Yeah.
But they sell it for like 10. So
Yeah.
okay, I'll let you know. What do you actually
Well,
what are you
just
sort of actually looking for?
anything
Or
except
you
for
just take
iron, really. So like I even buy titanium, and I
right?
like if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna sell mining resource, it's better to sell to like a player, because I'll give you a better price. Like if he's paying 4, I'll pay 7. You know, because that's still cheaper for me, and you get more money out of it.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. All right, good to know.
That's almost double the price that he'll give you.
Yeah, fucking, we'll just
No,
start
it's
our own
not
like
even. It's
black
like
market.
because it's like internal trading,
Well,
which
black
is
market,
better because there's no tariffs. Hashtag Brexit, but yeah.
It's like the trial run for Brexit. To be honest, I have got no idea what the fuck Brexit is even about. That's why I
Yeah.
stayed out of it.
You, you Brexited
So
Brexit.
poorly explained. But yeah, fuck.
Yeah, I don't know what their game is. I assume it's some dodgy shit because I can't see any like
Oh yeah,
very reasonable thing. It's like fuck all this travel and all these rights all of our people have and all these laws that make it so that we can't abuse people and fucking like be super corrupt.
yeah, but I believed it was. Yeah, I don't know. I just got a bad feeling about it. One thing I like, one snippet I remember reading about was that if we break away from the EU, like we're not protected by any we don't have to like companies and corporations don't have to abide by like some of their like not human rights, but like
They're like trading standards effectively.
And stuff, like,
That's the thing that's really good about the EU is the fact that you have like all these workers' rights and all these fucking like.
What's super ironic about it is that the EU uses a lot of British standards for a lot of things. Like, not that we like made them; it just it was good.
They adopted
it's a good standard, and they just chose not to. Yeah, like so it's ironic now that the UK wants to. It's like fuck you, Europe, because it's like we helped build the fucking European Union. Like we helped shape Europe. All of the countries in Europe, I suppose, at one point like helped piece it together. But you know what I mean? Like, it seems really like silly. But I don't think it's a good idea, because one thing I was reading about was that it leaves the country open to like corporations. Just coming in,
having their way with it, which is that's the main thing.
Yeah, and it's bad because like big corporations like mirroring it from America. Really, it'll be a lot of American corporations trying to nudge their shit in over here. Like, it's just some of the way that people are treated in America, like, it's terrible. Like they're
they're like fucking, if they work like full time, they can't fucking afford to live in a lot of places, which is like terrible for a country that's supposed to be like a first world country, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like the leading standard of like Western capitalism. It's fucking terrible, but
well, that's where like a fucking extreme capitalism leads to. It leads to just fucking people becoming the slaves to fucking huge corporations.
Yeah, like you're not even treated as a human being at that point. You're just like a unit of imperial like currency making. That's all you are. You're just a unit.
Proper
like,
unit.
Proper unit, mate. Using tools and that. It just, I don't know. It leads to a very.
It does,
dark
because the thing is, America is more wealthy, right, by pound for pound, than Europe is. Well, not necessarily, but if you look at their population compared to our population, their output is really good. You know, like they could live like the Dutch standard of living for everybody, but they don't. Like they have like UK, sub Dutch, like fucking sub most like northern / I guess just European countries in general, because even in Spain you're fucking better off, even though there's no work there. But at least the social services are fucking way better. You know, you don't have to fucking pay to get sick. You know, getting sick doesn't cost you money. And that's because they fucking just are like, capitalism is good, like free market is good, but fucking ultra capitalism isn't. You know, it's like let's not like fucking have a fucking capitalist market dictate medicine and all like stuff that's of grave importance, because that's too much leverage that you have over somebody else, if you know what I mean. If you control medicine, you can sell it for however much the other person has, because what are they going to do, die? You know?
Yeah, what's the end game really in it for each party? Like, you either buy it or you stay sick. So they really have the leverage. Yeah, you're right. That's right. Yeah, pretty much. It's gone too far. Like, where I don't know how it's happened, but at some point, like, all the key players have just been able to just buy up all, like, everything, just get their fingers in all the pies, and no one stopped them. No one's actually thought like, fuck, no, we don't just want like a small amount of only really like people that are only like self-interested people. You know, people they don't care about the people that need the medicine. They just want like the money that they want off the medicine. And that's where it's got twisted. Yeah, stuff like that should be controlled by the like, I think like medicine, technology, and agriculture should be controlled.
Which in
by
Europe
the
it
state.
is, pretty much. It's controlled at least by bodies that are controlled by the state.
That's good, then.
You know, because like how kind of what you're doing, you're working for the state indirectly because it's a company that's contracted out to the state.
Yeah, people ask me what I do for a living. I just say I contract to the government, work on the water side of things. Just say that, because it's so much easier to explain like the long list of chain. Like, Yeah, you're right. It's
And
interesting,
and
though,
then
that
look
the
how well treated you are,
government-
if you know what I mean, as like a worker.
Yeah.
Well,
Not
you
really.
get
Well,
good, you have good, like you've like
sort of
unionized
bars.
worker rights, if you know what I mean, with your being paid for being on call, you know. And you get paid a good amount, and you're not
Yeah, pretty
overworked.
much.
At least not from what I like hear. At least that's not the main complaint. There's nothing in like the rule book that's like causing you grief, if you know what I mean. And that's really the only thing that they can provide is like the rule book, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, no, not really. Like a lot of the stuff that's in the rule book is just like health and safety stuff, really. Like that's the rule book. Like,
But also the way you're paid, the way your
I mean,
vacation
that
days are handled,
works
the way
for
you're
me,
paid,
right?
like
So-
all your rights, like those are all what's important, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like the benefit. Yeah, no, it's all pretty good. I should imagine if it was government run, it would be.
Well, you
wouldn't
say
be
that,
as
but
nice
the
for
thing
me.
is, it like
Well, wouldn't be as. I don't think it'd be as like.
it depends. It depends on like
But you'd
what
still have the same right.
it depends on what the fucking like union is like for whatever the hell you're doing, pretty much. Because that's also a thing that's kind of like lacking in America is just like I guess good unions for certain trades and professions. Because if you're just like in America, if you're just in the fucking catering industry or whatever the fuck, and you're just like a server or whatever, you are fucked. Because effectively like you just make the tips and then you can make like a good living if people are generous, which in America they kind of are because you are obliged to tip in that country.
Yeah.
But like there's like no union that's like you need X amount of vacation days or that's like going to fight for you if you fucking have an issue with your boss or an issue with like your contract or something.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what-
because the
that's
thing
what you
is,
want.
like, what doesn't make a lot of sense is that, like, it's not like the fact that our countries are like becoming less productive, because that's not the case. We are getting like more population, but not by a huge amount. Like a lot of the strain comes from like if you have a class of people that are incredibly wealthy, that do not pay tax, use any means they have at their disposal, which they have a lot of means because they have a lot of wealth, to avoid taxes and effectively take from the system but don't give, if you know what I mean. And in America, that is rampant. I'm pretty sure in America, like,
Yeah.
the 1% that controls a huge amount of the wealth pay like fucking far less than 1% of the taxes because they just know how to dodge everything.
Yeah. They've got the money, right? They've got the
And
money.
that's
to
another
fire
thing
up
that
the
Europe
right
is getting
people
rid of,
to-
is getting rid of tax
Yeah.
havens. Because, like, all these places, like the Bahamas and fucking Switzerland, like, it's slowly clamping down on them. Because all these places are fucking their neighbors for their own greed, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes me happy. That makes me extremely happy. I like it when people get their comeuppance, you know. Yeah, too right though, because like the thing is, what makes them better than anyone else? Like, why do they deserve a higher standard of like life than anyone else? Like, it's not for them to just take that upon themselves. Like, it's not for anyone
No.
to say. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
And that's one of the issues, is that
Yeah.
because on the other end you have like communism, which is a very militant form of socialism, which is what the Americans absolutely like. They hate socialism because they hate communism, even though it isn't the same thing.
Right. You hear a lot of people say that communism works on paper, but not in.
Oh no, it works
practice,
just
right?
in general, but it doesn't work if you do it half-heartedly. Because what really was the death knell for like the Soviet Union is opening up their market to, like, partially opening up their market without privatizing a lot of their industries. Because the thing is, if you start to like import stuff as like a communist country, it becomes incredibly difficult because you don't really like like you don't use currency technically, if you know what I mean, because you just use who needs it gets it. That's kind of like the idea behind communism. And trading with like Western countries when you're communist is almost always a lose game, because your country's not built around generating profit. Your country's built around distributing resources. But
yes. So it's like it works, but only if like
that and like
or if you're powerful enough to sustain like your own.
Yeah, if you're large enough. But then you also get into the thing where communism is not very efficient, because it's a state-run anything is usually not efficient because it's not run for profit. So you kind of get into like to that situation where like administrators cannot run a whole sector of your economy effectively, because it's very hard to centralize and control stuff, like to effectively force control over something that really doesn't have a lot of control. So you can't like it's what a lot of communist countries have issues with, is where they have like stuff that is fucking goddamn it. Hold on, I need to actually concentrate on the game, otherwise I lose. Okay, where am I going? But yeah, it's what a lot of like communist countries have issues with, the fact that they can't like simulate supply and demand by planning, if you know what I mean. They can't plan around supply and demand. So you can say like, I want a restaurant district here as like a communist country, and then you just get the materials for it and you build the restaurant district. But then you didn't realize that there's no customers for it, or not enough customers for it. You know, that sort of stuff. But the upside of communism is that poverty is irrelevant, if you know what I mean, because you can just mobilize huge amounts of your population. You just effectively like you try and make sure you distribute all the resources, make sure that people aren't rich, but people like the idea is that people aren't rich, but people aren't fucking starving either. That's the idea behind it, at least.
Yeah. It's like everyone has like enough, like for what they need.
It's like this fucking game. Apparently there's this fucking boss guy who is just always in this area. Hold on, I need to like actually get the fuck out of here. Yeah,
well, he's just there all the time.
It's okay, I just need to survive for like 12 seconds. I'm pretty sure I can do that. I'll mark this area as like
danger. Is he like just one single giant entity, or has he got like a bunch of ads and stuff?
I didn't really stick around for super long.
No. Okay. Perhaps a team
Pretty
effort.
Sure, yeah, but so far I'm just gonna ignore him because fuck dealing with him. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, like my ideas behind it is that like you want like a capitalist economy, but you want kind of a socialist mindset, because you don't want to have the mindset of, you know, the strong survive, the weak perish, because that's not true. That's bullshit. Like everybody is strong and weak at different points in their life, if you know what I mean. So
yeah,
like you know, if you're strong, I can guarantee you're not staying strong forever. And if you're weak, you don't necessarily stay weak. So having a system where it's you know, everybody gets a fair shake is, in my opinion, far better. And also fuck people that have like, you know, millions upon millions upon millions, and it's just a score game for them, because they are worsening the economy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because if you have 900 million in the bank and it's not doing anything, right? Because I guess it is like, because the thing is about banking is banking does put it back in the economy, but if you have 900 million in a foreign bank, right? In like a foreign bank that has nothing to do with your country, then it's completely out of the system.
Yeah.
Because if it's in a bank, it is still in your economy.
Yes.
Why? Because your bank spends that money, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, Yeah, no, I understand how that works. Like, which is the bankers in England got themselves in
Oh yeah, because
turmoil.
they're allowed to a certain degree. They're allowed to like invest money and use it. Yeah, because the
Because it's
idea is that they
helpful, though,
generate
right?
more money
Because
and
it
they
keeps
put the money into the economy.
it going.
And the whole concept behind the bank is that they are
Yes.
they have so much money that at any point, if somebody wants to take all their money back, they can just give it to any one person, but not to everybody at the same time.
Yes. Yeah, like, yeah, you're allowed to withdraw
Yeah,
whatever you
and
put in, even though what you put in, what
Yeah,
you actually
and
put in
because
doesn't
most
exist,
likely,
really.
well, it probably does exist because they have so much like surplus, but obviously they couldn't if like half their people withdrew everything, because it's all tied up in like fucking stocks and bonds and all sorts of other things.
Yeah.
Which is good because that means that their money is stimulating the economy. But it's obviously if they do it too poorly or too bad, right? That's why you can be an investment banker. This is where you're just a banker who invests money effectively. But you can obviously get into trouble with that if you're fucking too shit at it, effectively. Because if you get into a situation where you're losing money and suddenly people want their money back, then that money doesn't exist, if you know what I mean. And that is a big problem. And that's also like
that is a big problem. People tend to get.
And it's also like you had like the
that.
like a huge credit crisis in America, which affected Europe as well, which is fucking also a fucking glorious product of uber extreme capitalism, where debt is just like a fucking another way of saying income, pretty much.
Yeah, I remember a few years back, and like the average American earned less than $1 a day. Or sorry, had like less than $1 a day to live on.
But... Oh fuck! What the hell? Okay, well maybe this guy is just everywhere. Like, okay, so it turns out this fucking boss guy is like in multiple places at once, but he doesn't have like a hyperspace jammer, I don't think, so I think I can just escape from him, because otherwise that would be really stupid, because he's just like, I think he just has multiple places at once. Just to get the fuck out of there. Yeah, fuck me. So yeah, be careful when just jumping about, because there's fucking space assholes.
Yeah, so
Well,
they
don't follow
me,
but they're just in like sectors that I did jump into. Pretty sure they're not following me. Where is my mission? That's a military outpost. Where the fuck? The system is under attack. The heck is the shipyard? That is? Yeah, that must be it. I just did like a sort of like delivery, but it's like an organization mission. Because like, if you have like an organization mission, right, they pay you way more than a delivery. Because a delivery is just, here, have the cargo, and you get a little bit of money for just doing the trip. But if you do an organize, you get paid like a huge amount of money, because they are effectively like, okay, we have a huge supply shortage. If you get us these things, we give you like double the amount of money that the thing is worth, pretty much, which is a lot of profit.
Right.
Anyway, there's a huge battle over here, so I'm gonna go and mooch off of that.
Where are we? Oh, I you're way up there again. Yep, just need to build a ship and then I'm on
These
it.
guys are like, it's between neutral and good, so I'm not going to, because these factions are at war, but I'm not going to take sides. I'm just going to sit here and collect the spoils of war.
Yep.
Because in this area, my ship's actually quite powerful. But obviously, the more closer I get to the the heart, the weaker I become.
Yeah, my ship is pretty trashed though.
It is 36.1 degrees Celsius right now. I've just learned to live in heat.
Yeah.
Like I have people, yeah, it is. I have people in, like I know people that like they're like, oh, it was 27 degrees Celsius. It was really hot inside, and I'm like, fucking, I wish it was 27 degrees Celsius. To me, that is just a pleasant temperature.
Yeah, 36 is crazy.
They like just fucking start doing tests on me. They realize that I've just turned into a fucking lizard because of the amount of time I've spent in the heat. Due to turmoil, this place has been called out as a hazard zone. Also known as a zone for potential profit. Yeah.
Where's that? Where you are?
Now the fighting's ended now. The invaders lost. Not really very surprising.
Not good enough. Layout. Was it like quite an uneven fight?
Like, well, it was like the invaders, they didn't bring like a huge invasion force, so they got just overwhelmed and killed.
Ah. like some of the shapes you can put out are just insane.
What, like triangles?
Wow, just like some of them are like wedged and all these like interesting shapes.
All geometric shapes in it.
Geometric shape, yeah. I never know that, will I? Oop.
Like when I'm like salvaging like some shipwrecks, and like my laser pushes them around.
Yeah, have you had it where if you've been like still and shot like Gatling guns and it's actually moved your ship? Yeah.
Hey man, it's physics.
Yeah.
If you want no recoil, you'd have to do like a laser or something. They have very limited, if like no recoil, pretty much. And also, once your ship's heavier, you'll be less susceptible to being pushed.
Yeah.
What I think is in this game you have tractor beams and you can literally just push people around. It's quite funny.
Yeah, that's... I see some of the stations, like some of the ships, like seem like they dock with tractor beams.
Yeah, I don't know about that, because there's also like a fleet transponder which lets you dock from like a distance. I don't know if that's that thing.
Oh, maybe. Like, I see like the bigger AI ships with it. When they come in like near a dock, and they'll get like. It looks like it originates from the ship, but like it splits out, like it's like a circular light.
I don't know what that is.
It splits out.
I don't know if that's like the transponder doing something, or if that's like a tractor beam or something doing something.
Yeah.
They're doing something at least. They're interacting with each other, because I know how like some of them are like the pushing beams.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Pushing it away from crashing into it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out what that is.
Okay, I have a mission to... Hello, is this... the explore sector. I have a mission to explore a sector. They're paying me 60,000 just to show up somewhere. What are the odds that I'm gonna get fucking attacked by pirates when I go there?
Sounds, yeah, too good to be true.
The 60,000 isn't a huge amount of money. At least not where I'm at the moment. It's definitely worth going there, I suppose. Because all you need to do is like one good mission. Like, because you don't even need like a mission, right? You could literally just, because all these factories, they need stuff and they also produce stuff. So you could literally, if you have cargo, you could literally buy something from a factory that's producing something, and then ship it over to a factory that needs something, and that'll make you money.
But obviously finding those 2 points
like, because you can type into like the top bar on the map, you can type in like the name of a factory, if you know what I mean. So you'd obviously have to look at the wiki to know what everything is, because, you know, chances are you won't be able to remember it all off the top of your head. You could just like type in, you know, fucking who needs cocoa or whatever the fuck, which I think is like a luxury research which I don't think anyone needs but trading stations. But for example, you could say like, who needs fucking, I don't know, silicon panels or whatever, or solar panels? Like, you're like, oh, solar panel factory produces it, and this industry needs it, you know?
Right.
And that's why exploring is so good, because obviously if you have like nothing explored, you're obviously not going to be able to find whatever factory needs X good, you know?
Yeah, you need like a picture of the galaxy. And I need to know what the fuck's going on and where.
Because, you know, even like the stuff that we know, if you zoom out, you can tell it's not really a lot.
Yeah, it's a really big scale. This map. Do you just like when you pick? Do you just pick
No,
like
I think
a size that
this is
you want to
standard
generate
size.
around?
I think it's like always this size. I don't know. You could probably make it bigger using mods, but I don't think that's necessary. Right,
Nah.
what the heck is this?
That seems pretty open-ended.
Oh, literally for exploration, it literally wants you to go up to asteroids and be like, explore.
Ah. Fair enough. How many have you got to click on?
After this, 4 more. I think at least.
Right.
But yeah, I gotta like, unfortunately, at least I can do it from like a couple of kilometers range, but I gotta just ask asteroids, smugglers hideout. I like the idea of like, yeah, there's a pirate hideout in this area, but just pretend to be doing like a geological survey or something. It's like, oh, I'm just looking at these featureless rocks. I fucking love rocks.
Rocks, alright.
Okay, so note to self, exploration. Not really worth it because you have to fly and click on a lot of rocks.
Is the money
No,
not like
60k
that
for
good?
doing this. It might be good for you at the moment, but for me it's like I could probably make more money hauling cargo.
Yeah.
But I've completed it now. Alright, this guy wants me to deliver some suspicious goods. What's the worst that could fucking happen? Fucking, I think we should definitely gonna get blown up. No,
Does it not
it's
tell you
just
what the cargo
suspicious
is?
goods.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, that could... anything.
For sure gonna get killed. That's guaranteed. Oh, if I die, I'll die exploring, I guess. Die doing what I love.
I mean, it could pay off.
It could.
It's a shame that you can't have
You can
rounded
make
edges
like
on this.
sort of rounded edges by using wedges.
Right.
You can make a circle, depends on how fucking hardcore of a circle you want it to be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I sort of see it doable, but...
Just putting on some weapons just in case. In about like half an hour or so ish, I think I'm gonna take a shower because I am super fucking sweaty. Just to give you a heads up.
Yeah, that's fine, mate.
Probably leave the. Yeah, I'll probably come back.
Cool.
I'll leave like the game. Depends. I might have to go to, depending on like what I have at home. I might have to go to the store as well. So I can just leave the game running, but I'll have to like move to like a safe space to go.
That's fine, mate.
I took for these guys. I took for their ships. Can't tell how tough they are from that distance. Oh. The thing is, in combat, you could also shoot the enemy's turrets off their ship.
Yeah, I've done that a few times actually. It's super fucking handy that you can do that.
Yeah, especially with lasers, because you can just be like, okay, that's where they're hitting me from.
Yeah, like bye. Because they just like almost instantly, or they can't do anything.
Turrets, they're shit out of luck.
And they don't like think to just ram you either, so that's cool.
Well, I killed their jamming ship, but I didn't. After which my shields weren't tough enough to where I could take them on. Wow, this is like, this is fucking weird. There's a whole big tear here. It's like, I'll reach this, like, delivery point of this thing easy. And I was like, oh, fuck. Turned out there's a huge detour. That's definitely one thing I've missed from being at work. Is work has AC.
Yeah, oh, fuck me. I can't imagine a job in an office with no AC. That's
Yeah.
the most terrible thing. So have your two new guys been just at work while you've been off?
Yeah, because they came earlier than expected. They're supposed to be there on September, but guess they're here already. Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's okay. They have to live 3 days or something without or 4 days without my fucking fantastic guidance. I think they'll survive. For their sake, I hope so.
So what are they like apprentices then?
That's kind of the idea. They're doing the internship.
Like,
No,
so
they
have
do.
like
They're doing the
qualifications in
internship for their education.
Right. Okay. So presumably then, if they're at the point of having employment, at the if it's anything like how the apprenticeships over here work, is it like do a couple of years at say college or university or whatever, and then in like the later years of the course you actually get a job placement and then put the theory into practice kind of type dealio. What then? What do they seem? Do they seem keen and interested? Or
because I haven't what's
yeah,
that?
actually, have you not
No,
met
I've not. No, I've met them like very briefly
not met?
once, but I wasn't there during their hiring process, so.
Right.
But pretty much I hold the power of life and death over them, so.
Fuck.
Pretty much.
Brave themselves,
The main reason why I also volunteered to do this is because I see how the other we have some interns that are just fucking trash really at working. They're just not ready to be in a work environment, and there's no excuse. Right? There is fucking no excuse for not doing your best. You don't have to be good, you just have to have a good attitude.
Nah.
And if you don't have a good attitude, then you can fuck off, pretty much. That's the way I no.
That's fair enough.
That's all I ask. Yeah.
I think that's reasonable though, mate. Especially at work as well. You're there for a purpose, you're there just for fun. Oh, unless you just
I enjoy my work, but I work hard. And I work hard because I enjoy my work, and because otherwise I'd be really bored, and if I'm bored I die because I can't handle boredom. But I expect I don't expect people to work really hard. I expect people to be motivated though, because they're there to learn, but they're also there to do some work.
Yeah.
And because we have some fucking interns that just kind of they just kind of sit in their chair and just fucking go through their coursework books, not actually doing any work, and just kind of staring off into space.
Oh, it's just
they're just kind of they're treating it like they're in class, but they're not in class, if you know what I mean. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't have like I'd be fucking ashamed if I were them, and the fact that they're not, you know. Yeah, just not just like the
Trying.
fact that like wouldn't you be ashamed if you're in like a room where people are working and you're just there doing nothing, even though you have tasks that you're supposed to be doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not like that. Like, I just, if I'm at work, I'm just always trying to get on with something, like work related. Um. Oh yeah, I know I work with people that are the same
Yeah,
as that.
well
They're
here's the
just
thing.
fucking.
I'm gonna try and make sure that I don't work with people that are like that.
Yeah.
Because my boss works hard, the owners of the company work hard, like, and all the people that are currently in the office, they work, like, some of them don't work as hard as others, some of them are kind of like, I don't consider particularly fantastic at their job, but they at least, they do it satisfactorily, and that's all I can really ask, and I don't expect more than that, and I expect them to have a professional attitude at work. And if they don't have that, then, you know, because I don't fucking want to stay there if, like, that sort of shit can fly, because that's just not what I'm about. I'm about fucking hard work.
No.
And if that's not if that's not the work environment that's there, then, you know, I have no business being there.
No, that's fair, man. Yeah, sort of like work is kind of like a purpose.
Work to me is work has to be fun and enjoyable, right? And you gotta work hard because that's the only way you can have fun at work in like a positive way. Because if you're working hard, you're not thinking about like fucking what else you'd rather be doing. You're actually concentrating and focusing on what you're doing, and the time will fly by, and before you know it, work will be over and you can do whatever else you wanted to do that day. I've always been keen to work hard, no matter what job it is.
Yeah, I work sometimes some right lazy cunts, and it's frustrating because it's just like, it's just frustrating. It just makes it hard and unenjoyable.
Nothing fucks me off more than somebody that isn't working. Like, they don't have to work as hard as what I do, because I go to lengths because I really enjoy what I do, and I can understand if people don't enjoy what they do, and that they don't necessarily want to work very hard. I pity them in a way, because, you know, fucking what the hell are you doing with your life if you're spending 8 hours a day doing something that you don't enjoy? Like, you either force yourself to enjoy it, or you stop doing it. That's my way of looking at it. Because otherwise you just kind of, like, fucking make life hard for yourself.
Yes, unnecessarily hard.
But yeah, people at work are really pleased that I'm, like, just not even like with the boss of the company, just the colleagues that I work with, that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on the interns. Because I think they also like fucking get rubbed the wrong way by people that are just kind of fucking around.
Right. Yeah, I guess as well, because they're just like trying to learn.
No, because they're just
and
like
they're
proper
obviously interested
employees,
enough.
like the other people. So, you know, like, how would you feel if like you had a guy that was, even though he's an intern, right, doesn't get paid a lot of money, but he's there supposedly to learn a trade, right? And you had a guy that was like on your team, but he fucking hardly ever does anything. And, you know, if he does do something, it's really bad. But usually the worst thing is not the fact that he's bad. The worst thing is that the fact that he actively seeks opportunities to not work, if you know what I mean. Like, he actively tries to avoid work at work, if you know what I mean. Like, he will, if he doesn't know what to do, he'll just sit quietly, won't ask anyone, on purpose. Not because he's like shy or stupid, but because he just doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
That's the type of people
type.
that like they fucking just sit at school. They just abuse the fact that we have a very lenient education policy in the Netherlands, and they just like fucking play life really easily, and they don't understand that by not working, they are fucking themselves in the future. Because if you've never learned how to work by the time you're like 25 or 26, it's gonna be fucking rude awakening, that's for sure.
Yeah. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna learn the fucking hard way. Yeah, because ultimately, like that, that's where it ends. Is you have to go and find a job. Like, you won't get by without a job. It's like or
Yeah.
at least an activity that makes you money, right?
There's just some people are just like, I know some people that are just kind of like fucking floaty assholes, right? That they just kind of like they're just doing an education because they can at this point in time, right? And they don't know what the fuck to do out in life aside from that, which fair enough, you don't know what to do, but it's just the way they go about it rubs me the wrong way, because it's just kind of like you can tell that they're just doing it so they don't have to work or do anything, and they're just trying to extend that period as long as possible. They're probably not even studying, they're probably just studying something that's easy rather than something that they enjoy.
Yeah, something that actually gets them somewhere.
They're just
like
really trying to like stay in that education system as long as possible. Okay. You just have to hope that those people are the minority, not the majority.
Yeah, because otherwise you end up with like poor industry, really.
Well, yeah, because it's like good, because in the Netherlands you have a lot of education opportunities, which is good, because sometimes it's not, you can't always have like a flawless education. Sometimes you'll study something that's wrong, or you'll make a mistake, or you'll have like something will happen where you can't study continuously. So then you have to like have like a little bit of like a fuck up period where you just have to readjust, and that takes some extra time. But you obviously got to be keen to work.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely a better system to. I'd rather have like lazy people being rewarded than hardworking people that are down on their luck being punished. Because that's really harsh. Like if you're imagine you're a fucking hardworking guy, but then suddenly like one of your family members gets sick and you can't. It like affects your education really harshly. And then because the system is like too strict, you can't re-enter your education at any point. So then you're just fucked. That's worse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yes, it's gonna be fun with the interns. Like, I really hope that they are willing to learn, because I'm very willing to teach them a lot of stuff.
You'd hope so. They're sort of wasting their own time.
Okay, so did you end up doing that thing for work yet, or?
No. I've actually been. I'll go back to work tomorrow. But we're just sort of like our whole team is not in tomorrow. This manager's like he's like left. He's like excluded him. This is what we. I think what we're doing. What I'm going back into tomorrow. I need to phone my mate really and find out. It's not like a proper project. It's just like odds and sods on different sites, just for like. So I need to actually wait till we're on a project again. Really, I need to speak to my mates. I need to speak to them and see what they've been. We've been off for like, well, 2 weeks now. Almost 2 working weeks. So there's nothing really to. There's no ammunition. It's nothing. Nothing's fresh, you know. So it's also sort of like calmed down for me because I've been off and not in that environment. But I should imagine as soon as I go back to work, get stuck in again, it's all just gonna like come back up. Because I doubt that this manager's had a fucking epiphany in the last 2 weeks and decided that he's gonna run his ship differently.
Yeah, you'll just have to see.
I doubt it. Yeah, so, but no, it's all, I thought about what you said and what, like, you know, other people have said to me and stuff. No, it's true. If it has to be done properly, because this guy is like he has like a bookworm in it, so like anything, you get into a fight with him and he just go straight to the book and get you like that, so you have to fight him on the same, like you said, you can't fight this guy with street rules.
You can't fight anyone in business with street rules. You'll always end up losing.
Yeah. So. But he is. I think he is like, unwillingly digging his own fucking grave. So. Because I know it's not just us that has an issue with this guy. I know that like even other management has an issue with this guy, but it's just not enough to get him.
Because people don't write formal letters that detail the situation.
Yeah.
Because if it's all rumors and hearsay, they can't act. You know, you can't be like, oh well, I heard a fucking rumor, you know, and then it's like, you can't expect any official action to come from unofficial sources, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
And then when something happens again, you know, you gotta like make sure that it doesn't, like you gotta make sure you don't get like angry or anything like that. You gotta try and make sure that if you want to do something about it, you have to do it through like that official, formal way. Because that's the only way the situation will change there. And that's the only way you can do something without looking like a massive asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just hoping it all fucking stops, because it is a fun job, right? Like, pretty enjoyable. It's a bit different.
So what did you do before this then?
I worked in a power plant. Like, I guess like a systems engineer, I guess. Pretty fun. It was like a giant biomass burner, just produce steam. Like giant furnace that was powered by wood, like fueled with wood that would run a boiler like above it, and then that would create steam, which would run a turbine, which would generate energy, and it was just all plugged into the grid. It's fairly new, like design. Like before, it's like nuclear and solar in it, but these new biomass design, they're like power plants really, but they're,
instead of coal, it's wood.
Yeah, pretty much. They're a lot more low key. They're supposed to be like part of this whole like green initiative, but
doesn't really make any sense.
Green, so you got cut down.
Because
No, so it's just another way of. It's just a. I don't know. I guess it's a corner of the energy market that like no one really considered viable, but someone found a gap. And it's not that like they're not everywhere at all. There's only like 70 sites in the UK, or like 70 planned sites, and there's only about there's not that many. I don't know what the number is. I would like to guess, but so anyway, yeah, I worked there for a bit. That was quite interesting. Like, 'cause it was like more, it was a bit of like computer diagnostic, but also like hands-on mechanical engineering as well. Just in charge of that, really. Like, watch the computer, like tweak the system, like add more fuel, make fuel like less or more damp before it goes into the actual furnace, change the speed at which the fuel is like put through the furnace, like all these things you could do. You're just trying to keep it running at like well, obviously 100% efficiency. 105 really you want to push for, but generate was like 410 megawatts. So power like 10,000 homes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was just me on my own. Like, I say just me on my own, but like there was only like one of my job role like on the shift. Like pretty much work alone. There was one site supervisor and then a couple of lads that used to work in the yard, driving all the machines, pushing all the fuel, all the wood chips around.
Then like, just what ended up happening with that job then?
The guy who owned it was just like a bit of a cowboy, and he like had zero. He gave zero shits about like anyone's health and safety, which was a concern. Like you'd get mashed up. Like if you fell into any of the like bits of like chain link like belts and stuff like that, you'd just get mashed up. Like they're running at like 1500 RPMs. Like, just don't stand a chance. Like if your sleeve got like caught in something or anything happened, like you are fucked. Like you are in big bad trouble. And he didn't give a shit. Like there was no. Nah. It's just dodgy, mate. Just dodgy. It's just cowboy. Like, cause the guy who owned the company that I worked for, like, whilst he technically owned the plant, like, and he had a few other ones dotted about the south, but he didn't pay for any of it. Like, he got investors for all of it. I think he put in like a little bit of money, but he's just like a farmer who decided he was going to go for it. Didn't really have too much knowledge. Brought on a couple of like specialists. Like one guy called Kevin, that he was like some super fucking university degree, like what was it, like a molecular physicist or something. Quite a smart bloke, but yeah. So just this guy just like conned a bunch of these people into like sold them a dream. But yeah, I didn't really enjoy as well the work pattern. It was shift. It was like 4 days on, 4 days off. But for the days that you were on, you do 8 hours, 7 till 6, and then you'd be on call for the evening, for every evening until your last night on call. So like 4 days on, and for the first 3 you're on call. So you're effectively working 24 hours for 3 days, potentially. And the plant was just so bugged, like machinery would fail. Like the guy skimped out on like certain power motors that like drive the chain like belts, like drive the machinery basically. He skimped out on the right motors that he needed, which were like higher power but obviously higher money, like 'cause they're better quality. And it just fucked him in the end, because things would just jam all the time. Bits would break. Like the amount of pieces of like chain link I'd have to change was just ridiculous. And I worked like back to back, because when I was off, there was obviously another guy working, and there was only 2 of us. His name was Dave. He was cool. He taught me quite a lot from there. And I would say to Dave, like, this happened, and he'd say to me, oh, that happened, and we'd tell Glenn, the owner, we'd say like, look, like this has happened, and this is why this has happened. And he'd be like, all right, yeah, just spin the dream again, and then just that you never get supplied with parts that you needed to run the plant, and then when the plant wasn't running, you'd get phone calls like, why isn't it running? Because the big bods in the office are always watching the like productivity of it. It's all like live and all like the live statistics and stuff and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, how can you expect me to fix it if you're not going to give me the part to fix it? Like, I'm just the employee. Like, I'm not paying for a fucking motor or a chain link. Like, you pay me pay me to do it, so you supply the fucking part. Like, and then it was just a constant battle trying to get parts. That was the worst part about that job, and in the end, that's why I left, because coupled with just like the weird shift pattern, because the knock-on effect, right, of that problem is that when you're on call, things are just constantly breaking, so you get no peace. So for 3 days straight, you're just up. You're up almost 24 hours, almost. It feels like it, because the amount of sleep you don't get, because everything's just constantly breaking through the day. You fix it, you think you've got it sorted, you go home, and it all fucking goes to pot again. So you got to go back out. For me, it was a 45-minute journey to where I worked. So just like getting home and then almost instantly turning on my heels because I've got an alarm popping up telling me something's gone wrong is like super like it's not ideal at all. That grinds my gears. Like, if I do a good day's like work, then I like to be able to just relax for the evening and do what I want to do. Like, I feel like I've earned it then. So yeah, that really interesting job, like very good industry to get into, but hard to find someone who's got like a good foothold, you know, someone who's tried to do it properly. Like this guy, he wouldn't listen. It was his way or the highway, and unfortunately that didn't work for me because it wasn't just some like little silly tech company, like it wasn't some little silly office-based thing. It was like a proper industrial/commercial like work environment, like where there's a lot of things you need to consider, or people get in serious trouble or seriously fucking injured. So yeah, unfortunately, nah. Which is a shame because, like I said, it's an interesting industry. Like, at least I thought it was something you could, if you were like kind of mechanically minded, and that you could happily like a quick learner at least. To where it's quite new, it's shifting quite a lot. It's like ever growing. But, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I probably don't do any justice, but you don't bump into many people that are in that type of job. So I haven't. I've always kind of preferred I always have really had like hands-on jobs. Just it's like doing things.
It's like, fucking like using my hands, innit? That's why they stopped me playing football, because they couldn't stop using my hands.
Kept getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Kept getting penalties
all the time.
Could understand it.
Run the ball in. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Oh fuck! Under attack again. Apparently, there's fucking just a dude doing a drive-by on me. I think my ship is pretty safe though here. So we'll see. Alright, be right back.
Alright, mate.